All right, I'm going to say this to you. First message that comes out loud and clear, and I'll explain it when we get down to here. But if you're dealing with some kind of an addiction, and you know it if you are, and that's a person taking the easy way out, cutting corners, booze, drink, porn, get video games, whatever, right? It can be anything. Whatever you feel like, I'm stuck, it's holding me back, or I'm stuck doing this. And you know it is. You know it is. Nine of Swords. There's no way you don't know. The Tower coming up, because that comes up. That's number 15. That's number 16. That's it comes after the Devil, the Tower card, to free you. This is the week to really face it. And, some of you have already faced it. And maybe you're worrying about, is it going to come back? Some of you have dealt with this a long time ago. You made your peace with this in the past. Old behavioral patterns, codependency, all of that kind of toxic shit that is very easy to kind of slip into. The devil energy is always easy. If the devil showed up looking kind of, awful and horrible and it was nasty, it wouldn't be tempting. It wouldn't tempt us. The devil always shows up with a smile on his face. It's the easy way out. But you're very aware of this. For those of you that that message is for, that's not the whole reading. But I saw that message, so I'm going to say it. Because that's how you won't fill your cup. You won't get true happiness, something that's truly fulfilling for you, until you can tear that shit down. It's keeping you trapped right now. If you watched, there was a card that I pulled, I think it was Living Large, on Instagram last week. And I gave her like a mini tarot lesson from, I think it was death onwards, death to the sun. Those cards in between, that journey of the major arcana. And I explained the devil and the tower, why the tower has to come in. It ultimately always frees us. But it's shocking and it changes everything around. Takes us back to basics. So I don't know who that message is for. It might be just for one person. And it's general. So maybe you're dealing with someone who has that, right? Maybe you're worrying about someone who you can very clearly tell that, they're dealing with some kind of an addiction or some behavioral pattern that doesn't serve them. The devil is one of the soulmate cards, believe it or not. Now, soulmates always bring us home to ourselves. It's not about romance. This can be, it can be a romantic partner. Soulmates come in all walks of life. And they always come in to show us who we are, to bring us home to ourselves. Now, in the traditional devil card, we see the two people, naked people chained to that plinth, and the devil's at the top there. And those are the lovers. So it starts off with great love. You love what it is that you're doing. And then it turns into obsession. The devil card is the card for obsession. Now, have a look at it. It very much plays on that theme of temptation in this card. Look at her tempting you with the apple, right? Very biblical kind of scene here. But it's that card. So what's tempting you? Is it something from the past that you're going back to? What is it that's tempting you right now? And it feels easy. I'll say that. It feels like the easy way out. But does it? Because we have the Nine of Swords here now. It might be that you're considering the devil energy, or that's coming up again for you because of the Nine of Swords. If this is someone else that you're dealing with, this is that intervention. It is. It's an intervention because you've been worrying about this for a while. But the Nine of Swords says, if you're stressed out about something, so it might be something completely unrelated to this. The devil isn't just addictions and stuff. It's where we stay in shitty situations for the money. It's that temptation, taking the material possessions way out of this. Or the sex is too good. Why would I leave? It's that kind of darker, it's the darker elements of love. It's the darker elements of why we do things that we do. And it's not empowering. The devil is where we give our power away. But with the Nine of Swords coming up, this is stress, anxiety, worry. When we get that kind of stress and anxiety and worry, right, it's usually because we're looking too far into the future. And think about that. Because, all right, I'll come back to this in just a moment. But have a look at this. Six of Cups coming up. That's the past. That's the past. Now, sometimes we can live too much in the past. That's where regret comes in. The past is there for us to say, all right, did that, learn that, I'm going to go forward. But the point of power is always the present, right? It's always the present. So the past, we make our peace with it. Feels like you've done that. But then what comes up is where we look forward. We're looking forward. And the Nine of Swords is, well, will this happen? Will that happen? What's the guarantee? Is that going to pay off? Will I be able to do that? And when we kind of get that stressed out about stuff, and it can be much deeper than that. And I want to say this, and I always say this. If you're dealing with depression, I don't do any kind of health readings. because I think there are medical professionals that are there. But if you're dealing with depression and darkness and, those kinds of thoughts, get help. Please don't be ashamed to get help, because this is bringing this out into the light, whatever it is that's going on. Whether it's the darker aspects of a relationship, whatever it is. But right now, I don't feel like it's being said. 9 of Swords, it's kind of going on in your head. It's in sleepless nights, stress, anxiety, worry. What's going to happen? Will this happen? Will that happen? And the only solution to this is to speak it, to get it out there. Whether that's that situation that you talk about it with that, to friends, family members, professionals, whatever it is. But it's talking about it. So yeah, with 9 of Swords, it's worry. But it does say things are not as bad as they seem. I know you're thinking it's come out with the devil, Jay. How much worse does it have to get? What it means by that is the more you keep going over it and over it and over it, the worse it seems. It might have just been a small thing, and now it's taken on this bloody dimensions of the devil. So with the 6 of Cups in the past, that is the card of the past. That's last week, last month, last year. The 6 of Cups is before the return of innocence. There's been a loss of innocence in some ways. Now, that can happen because we've gone through something difficult and we've become cynical, right? Or this is where we've made our peace with the past. So that thing's done. So the most positive interpretation of the 6 of Cups in the past is, hey, you know what? I've done that healing work. I've looked at the old stories that I have. I've made my peace with the past. It's a gift from the past here. Have a look. They're the same person. So she's gone to a younger version of herself and she's giving her something. She's like, hey, do you remember that dream that we had? Do you remember we were going to be this person? So it's revisiting that version of ourselves before this loss of innocence. So 6s are harmonious energy. Excuse me. They're kind of quite stable because, like I said, it's making our peace here. But we've got another 6 coming up here, the 6 of Wands. And the 6 of Wands is taking pride in who we are. Now, for those of you that are not dealing with any of that addiction and stuff, and I've said my piece around that, so I'm not going to go back to that. This is about what has power over you, because that's the other thing of the devil. Ultimately, whatever it is, old behavioral patterns, relationships, whatever, they have power over us. This is not that. This is a victory card. It's recognition. It's pride. It's pride. Because this can be shame as well, right? Sometimes we're ashamed when we're dealing with things. And this is take pride in who you are. Know that you can beat this, or know that, there is stuff to still be proud of in yourself. And I always tell this story whenever this card comes up, but I always have this vision of this kind of bustling marketplace at the bottom. And no one's going to just recognize how great these people are. No one is. They're busy doing their shopping and stuff, visiting the market stalls. So they climb up on this mound and they're like, hey, everyone, look at us. Look at what we have to offer. Look at what we can do. That's what it looks like, right? Look at the way he's standing there. So this is putting yourself out there. This is taking pride. This is a downward spiral, but this is the week to break out of that, Sagittarius. And I kind of it feels like such a specific message. This may not be for everyone. And I get it if it isn't. Then we'll try again for you guys next week. But whoever this is for, you need to hear this. And you know you do. So that's at the heart of everything. Everything revolves around, well, we can look at what's holding us back. We can look at what's wrong. We can look at this is wrong and that is wrong and that's blah, blah, blah and all the rest of it. All the things that hold us back. But what is going for you? What are you proud of about yourself? What gifts do you have? What skills do you have? And other people won't recognize that about us, give us our self-worth until we recognize it in ourselves. There is something here. There is something that you can work on. There's something that you can use to show the world. Now, for others of you, it's knowing that there's no shame in whatever this struggle is. Bring it out into the open. Because have a look here with the Knight of Pentacles here. This is something that you're willing to put some work into. One foot in front of the other. Let's keep going. Let's keep moving in that direction that we've picked. Now, the Knight of Pentacles under all of this, the Knight of Pentacles is reliable, is dependable, is hardworking. He's the most reliable knight. I mean, the Sagittarius knight is the Knight of Wands, the unreliable one. And I love the Knight of Wands. I'm not putting the Knight of Wands down. I love the Knight of Wands because the Knight of Wands is very much in the moment and is very much about, does this feel good? Does this enhance my experience of life? What new adventures can I go on? The opposite. The Knight of Wands is the opposite of the Knight of Pentacles because he isn't about that. He's about, all right, what's the next step that I can take? Is it, let's keep moving this forward. What can we do here? And he's reliable and he wants it perfect. But the downside of the Knight of Pentacles, and this might be coming in for some of you with that 9 of Swords, is He wants a perfect plan. He wants to know, how's it going to happen? What's the guarantee? What do I get out of doing this? So he can be very forward, going for that goal, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if it's stopping you from taking the next step, if it's unnecessarily slowing you down, then it's asking you to bring your attention back to the present, because he is in the present. So what are you working towards? Because you have the 7 of Wands coming up next. Now, in the story, I like that. I like to look at the stories that the tarot is telling us and the progression of the energies. I want you to think about this. In the 5 of Wands, the one that comes before the 6, in the 5 of Wands, we are competing. It's healthy competition. It's facing challenges, showing what we're made of, right? And so in the 6 of Wands, we get recognition for that. Wow, you came out on top. You were so great at that. You're the conquering hero. You've come home. Let's throw a parade for you. That's where we get the recognition for it. Some of you don't, you might not be feeling like you're being seen for all the work that you're putting into something. You could have this sense of, and you might be doing it to yourself, that I'm not doing enough. But you are. If you're putting one foot in front of the other, you're still doing something. You're still progressing. So we've got the 5 of Wands. We've got the 6 of Wands. What happens when you get that recognition, when you're stood on top of that mound, when you're proud of what you've done? They come for you. They come to take it from you. Then you have to protect what you've achieved, right? And that's the 7 of Wands. It's the warrior spirit card. But this is a test. And there's nothing to show that you won't succeed, because, again, you've got the higher ground here. This is where everything's coming at you from every angle. But you have your shield, you have your dragon, you have your wand there. This is that no more. I'm not putting up with this shit. I don't want it. I don't want it. You're not getting past me. You're not having this. So what are you defending now? This is one of those readings that I really wish I had a specific situation to apply it to, because it's going to play it in a number of different ways. For some of you, it's trusting that if you keep putting in the work, right, that, you can face anything that comes your way. You'll be able to face it. For others of you, it's that fear of, well, what's the point of achieving anything that, I'll just have to keep fighting for stuff. Others still, it's getting defensive. That's defensive energy, right? You're defending yourself. But what are you getting defensive about? This? Now, the reason I feel it's a lot of these things is because this would not come up as your advice. It's coming up as your advice. It's not saying this is going to happen. Some of you this might already be happening. You might be seeing the tower collapsing one brick at a time, and it's not meant to be that way, right? The tower is a sudden collapse, suddenly just coming down. And when it's advising you of that, what is the epiphany? What is the awakening? What is the transformation? What is the aha moment? What is keeping you trapped? Because the devil talks about what has power over us. And this is where we free ourselves from that. We free ourselves from whatever's holding us back. This is something that the ego identifies with. I need the money. I need that relationship. I need that, and there's nothing wrong with the ego. But that's where we're getting our self-worth from. And it can become a trap. And that's why this is the ivory is what we're freeing ourselves from that. Don't want that. Might have to start from scratch. Might have to disrupt everything. But at least I'm free. And don't forget, the card that comes after the tower is the star. The new beginning. Then you can see where you're meant to go. Then you get the guidance that you need. Then you can get the help that you need. Because there's very much an energy of her trying to make something work. And it doesn't truly fulfill you. And yet you decided in the past 6 of Cups of what what fulfills you. You know what the dream is that you want. You know how you want to feel. You know what's truly fulfilling to you. That coming up in the past, you might have already given someone a second chance as well. That could be the message here. I've given someone the chance. But is it still not working out the way you want it to? With the tower sat underneath this, there's also a sense of, if it's that return to innocence, right? Return to a time of innocence, then that has to go. That's how you can get the Ace of Cups. This is the potential for a new beginning. Something that is emotionally fulfilling. We see the potential for happiness in that situation. But if you're stuck in that tower, whatever has you trapped, you won't see it. The Ace of Cups is all about what's in your cup. Because that's what gets matched, right? When we leave the tower. Towers come up so much this time. So with the Ace of Cups coming up, this is self-care, self-love, emotional growth, spiritual growth, whatever fills your cup. Every great love story, if you're looking for a great romance, it begins with how you love yourself. No one else can fill your cup for you. Too many people go out there with empty cups, wanting their cup to be filled by someone else. And if the cup matches our own, empty cups are going to attract empty cups. I told you it leads to the star. It leads to the star. Don't forget, these are present based, both of these. And it's how do we get to that future, right? How do we get to it? The Seven of Wands is, what do you stand for? It's standing your ground, yes, but you need to know what you stand for. And if it, at the moment, it feels like you're standing in like quicksand or something, then that it just feels like nothing feels very stable right now. And that will change with the star coming in. We'll talk about that. 8 of Swords here. This is the I can't. I can't. For some people, it's denial. If you're talking to someone and they're exhibiting kind of devil-like toxic tendencies, and it's almost like you could tell them, you know, that intervention that I was talking about. And they're like, no, there's not a problem. There's nothing wrong here. I'm fine. I can't do anything. That, you know, it's that kind of denial. It's denial. But if you're dealing with someone like that, it's still asking you to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Others of you, you're limiting yourself. You're going a lot slower than you need to. And I get it though, right? I get it. Some of you are slowly working. I mean, it's not all negative. Some of you are slowly facing down each and every single one of these fears that are keeping you trapped. I'm telling you, with the 8 of Swords and the 9 of Swords, they're not always that bad. Sometimes it's when we recognize the shadows, we recognize the fears, we recognize the stress, but we're facing it down. We're trying to free ourselves. We're trying to free ourselves. And, you know, hats off to you, those of you that are doing that. That's what you can take pride in. Stand up tall. You might not be exactly where you want to be right now, but you are bringing it down. You're bringing down whatever's keeping you trapped. And that's what this star is saying. The star is, this is where we, you know, that's temptation. That's the easy, that's cutting corners. The star is, what did I come here to do? What was my true path, my purpose? And it's number 17, right? So we've got 15, 16, and 17. We've got progression coming in there. And this is that tower falls, that illusion of the tower. Then we can see the night sky. And we only see the stars when it's truly dark outside. But this is hope that comes from a new beginning. Sometimes we stay stuck because we don't see the hope. But this is, I want that. I want that star. I want to be seen. Some of us, it's to get the recognition of the star that we are in work and what we're doing. We can't cut corners then. We have to put in the work and, you know, feel the fear and do it anyway. If it's overwhelming us, it's like, just focus on what's right in front of me now. Let me just take that next step. I'll worry about the one after that when I get there. I actually want to get you guys one more for that Tower and Ace of Cups. Can we have one more for the Tower and the Ace of Cups? This is very much a reading for those Sagittarians, just going to say it, who are shaking shit up. You're quaking in your boots maybe trying to do this, but you're still getting it done. And I love you guys for that. There you go. See, to come back to who you are, to stand in your power, to be the bloody King of Wands. This is not you. You're not this. You're not the Knight of Pentacles. Nothing wrong with earth energy, but that's not fire. Fire is always moving. Like, have you ever looked at even the tiniest flame? Like, light a candle. That flame does not stand still. It's always moving. There's always movement with fire. And that's you guys. And something has slowed you down. Now, sometimes it's not our fault, right? The energies are such that that's how we have to be. But with the King of Wands coming up, this is confidence to pursue what you want. If this is a work reading for you guys, some of you for the money are doing stuff that it doesn't excite you. It doesn't ignite you in any way. It doesn't do anything for you. But you're saying, well, I have to do it, Jay. I can't not do it. Then I won't be able to pay the bills. And that might be the truth. But it's still working through that. And then not believing that it has power over you. Knowing that it's temporary. Knowing that you're scoping out other ways of doing things. That you will be recognized. That maybe you've got a skill set from there. That you will be able to follow that dream that you had in the past. If this is a relationship, why does your relationship feel like such hard work? And I get it, you know, there's relationships have times of like ebb and flow. There are times when it's easy and it's flowing and it's great and it's passionate. There's other times where, yeah, things come up. We need to talk about them. But there's no talking when the 8 of Swords, 9 of Swords come up. It's stress and anxiety. Finding the hope. What guides me? Because when we find that, when we pick our star in the night sky, that's going to guide us forward. Then this is worth it. Then you know what you're fighting for. But with the King of Wands, this is you guys. Stepping back in your power. Being that, I'm going to pursue this. I'm going to go do this. I'm confident. Whatever happened, it's knocked your confidence, Sagittarius. But smashing that tower down. And I know people don't like the tower. The tower is my ultimate favorite card in the tarot. The King and Queen of Wands, they're the stars of the show. They're the stars. Where are you selling yourself short? Look, love is all around you. There is love everywhere all the time. Simply acknowledge this as truth. And that's an important one, because I think sometimes, I think the example that I gave in, I've recorded a podcast on not making choices or not knowing which direction to go on. There's a link in the description if you want to listen to that. But what I said was that, you know, when we're thirsty. And what we do is we think, well, you know, the only thing that's going to quench my thirst is a bottle of Cristal, right? But it's like water could, anything could. But so it's being open to it. There are things that can love us, that can bring us love, that can quench that thirst in so many different ways around us. But it's when we're focused on it just being in one way. That could be the trap. That's what's holding you here. That you have a vision of it of only being one way. And maybe you've held on to that for a long time, from childhood. But the knights, they always progress a situation, whether it's the slowest moving one, Knight of Pentacles, or the fastest moving one, the Knight of Swords. But they move forward. They're the fastest. The knights, they move around on their horses. They're progressing a situation. They're out on missions. But you're so like, this is fears and doubts coming in. And he knows, whatever he feels, he's the entrepreneur. You know, he's the one that acts on his passions. He goes for it. If it's worth doing, I'm going to go for it. It's going to make me happy. The Ace of Cups there, sorry.